Welcome to the Weekly Files, wherever you are watching or listening from. Let's get into it. Elon Musk's bold vision for the Optimus robot and the future of work. At a recent shareholders' meeting for Tesla Inc., Musk declared that Optimus has the potential to eliminate poverty. He argued that this robot, when fully operational and scaled up, could drive what he calls sustainable abundance by increasing productivity to a point where scarcity of goods and services might be a thing of the past. Some of his key points. Musk expects that Optimus could operate far more productively than humans. He estimated up to 5 times productivity per year compared to a human, thanks to continuous operation 24/7 and its robotic nature. He proposed that this kind of robotics, AI-driven productivity, could expand the global economy by a factor of 10 to 100 times. In Musk's view, once automation with robots like Optimus becomes widespread, many jobs as we currently conceive them might become optional. People might be free to pursue non-work roles, hobbies, arts, personal fulfillment, while robots handle most of the labor. He floated the possibility of what he calls a universal high income, distinct from a basic income. In this future, everyone could have access to goods and services without being required to work full-time, because robot AI productivity covers the needs. Musk also suggested unconventional uses. For example, Optimus robots could monitor or follow individuals to prevent crime, reducing need for traditional incarceration. Musk's remarks came just as shareholders approved a massive compensation package for him, up to $1 trillion, contingent upon Optimus sales and other performance milestones. This underscores how deeply Optimus is integrated into Tesla's strategic narrative. If his vision plays out, the implications are profound. Labor market disruption. If robots can replace large swathes of human labor, the definition of work may change fundamentally. Musk acknowledges a lot of trauma and disruption along the way. Economic restructuring. The idea of sustainable abundance points to a shift from scarcity-based economics to abundance via automation. This could impact on everything from pricing of goods to job value, wages, and social safety nets. Purpose and meaning. Musk himself has asked, if robots perform almost all necessary work, what will humans do? The focus may shift from making a living to meaning, creativity, purpose. Ethical and policy questions. There are serious questions around job displacement, income distribution, the role of government in regulating robotics, AI, and how society manages the transition. A New York election with big implications. In a surprising outcome in New York City's mayoral race, 34-year-old progressive Democrat and former New York State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani won decisively over former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who had run as an independent. Mamdani, a Muslim son of immigrants, rode a wave of young progressive energy, especially around cost of living issues and disillusionment with traditional parties. His victory, however, has spotlighted deepening divisions within one key Democratic constituency, the Jewish vote in New York, which is home to the largest Jewish population of any city outside Israel. One of the central takeaways is that the Jewish vote, once considered relatively homogeneous in its democratic leanings, is showing signs of fragmentation. In the election, only about 1/3 of Jewish voters supported Mamdani, while 2/3 backed Cuomo. Some younger Jewish voters publicly supported Mamdani, based in part on his views toward Palestinians and Gaza, not despite them. As one supporter said, "I support Mamdani not in spite of his views on Israel and Palestine, but because of them." Mamdani's win exposes intra-democratic party tensions. Mamdani's victory demonstrates the friction between the party's establishment wing, which often appeals to older Jewish voters, moderate Democrats and pro-Israel constituencies, and a younger, more progressive wing that is more willing to question traditional US foreign policy, including toward Israel. 2. Opportunity for Republicans. While the Jewish vote has long been a Democratic stronghold, in 2024 whites and Jews voted heavily Democratic nationally, The disruption triggered by Mamdani's win opens a potential inroad for Republicans. Republicans plan to seize on Mamdani's election to court more Jewish support in next year's midterms. Policy and social implications for New York City. Mamdani's campaign focused on economic populist themes: cost of living, housing, public services, which resonated strongly with younger voters and those disillusioned with the status quo. Jewish voters who supported him often cited those local bread-and-butter issues, not necessarily foreign policy. The election of Zohran Mamdani has exposed a pivotal moment in Jewish American democratic politics. It has revealed that the Jewish vote is far from monolithic, that generational and ideological shifts are real, and that local and national parties may need to readjust their assumptions. How this plays out in New York, and potentially in other US urban centers with significant Jewish populations, will be a story to watch. In another news, cargo jets grounded amid holiday shipping surge. In early November 2025, major US parcel carriers, UPS Airlines and FedEx Express, took the precautionary measure of grounding their MD-11 freighter aircraft following a fatal crash involving a UPS MD-11 cargo jet in Louisville, Kentucky. The grounding comes at a particularly sensitive time, just ahead of the high-volume holiday shipping season, when consumers and retailers alike are relying on tight delivery schedules. The crash provoked an immediate reaction. The aircraft, manufacturer, Boeing, recommended suspension, and regulators moved to issue emergency directives. For UPS, the MD-11s represented about 9% of its fleet. For FedEx, about 4%. What the MD-11 grounding means for the supply chain. The MD-11 freighters haul large volumes of overnight and time-sensitive cargo for these carriers. With them pulled from service, the carriers must redirect freight onto other aircraft, ground transport, or delay shipments. According to logistics experts, this comes at a moment when margin for error is already thin. Some of the key pressures: capacity constraints. With fewer freighters in operation, shippers must rely more on belly space in passenger aircraft or on trucks and trains, which are slower or less optimal for the overnight, high-value parcels. Timing. Risk. The grounding reduces buffer capacity just when the volume is ramping for holiday shipments, meaning that any bottlenecks or delays could cascade. Reprioritization. Carriers may need to triage which shipments get premium air transport and which go slower, potentially impacting some merchants or regional customers more than others. Logistics analysts suggest that while immediate delays might be limited, risk rises substantially as the shipping peak mid-December nears. One professor of supply chain management termed the grounding and concurrent constraints on flights as a 1-2 punch for carriers. The grounding of the MD-11 fleets at UPS and FedEx is more than a technical footnote. In the context of the holiday shipping surge, it's a risk factor for the broader logistics system. While there is no immediate reason to panic, the message to retailers and consumers is clear: expect less margin for error, order earlier rather than later, and keep an eye on shipping communications as the holiday season accelerates. Trump pardons baseball icon Darryl Strawberry. On November 7, 2025, President Donald Trump granted a full pardon to former Major League Baseball star Darryl Strawberry for a 1995 felony tax evasion conviction. The clemency was announced by the White House after an official statement highlighting Strawberry's post-career transformation, his commitment to sobriety, his Christian faith, and his work in ministry and addiction recovery. Strawberry responded publicly with gratitude, describing the pardon as a personal, non-political act of compassion and recounting the moment he received a call from Trump himself. His post-career life included other legal, health, personal struggles, drug addiction, health complications that often made headlines. What appears to have guided Trump's decision is the narrative of Strawberry's transformation. Over a decade of sobriety, embracing Christianity, founding or participating in recovery centers, and working in ministry and addiction outreach. Why this pardon matters. The power of presidential clemency. The pardon underscores how the president can exercise broad discretionary power to forgive federal convictions, based not only on what was done, but on what the individual has become. This case fits a common pardoning narrative. Past crime, plus rehabilitation, plus public service. Pardon. Messaging and perception. Strawberry emphasized that the pardon has nothing to do with politics. It's about a man, President Trump, caring deeply for a friend. At the same time, critics may see pardons of high-profile figures as privileging celebrity or connections. Impact on legacy and redemption stories. For Strawberry and his legacy. This pardon closes a chapter of formal legal disability and symbolically affirms his personal turnaround. For public perception, it invites reflection on second chances. The pardon of Darryl Strawberry by President Trump is a striking intersection of sport, redemption, law, faith, and political power. On one level, it is a personal story. A star athlete falls and is formally forgiven by the highest office in the land. On another level, it is a piece of the larger mosaic of how American society and its institutions handle failure, rehabilitation, and legacy. Thank you for watching, but for now it's goodbye.